Welcome to the 2020 ESPN Fantasy Football Sucks League Draft. I'm your host. I'm also your champion, your current champion, owner of the Ligma Balls, Nathan Neese. What an honor it is to be here today as your champion. It's something I've looked forward to for many years. I've been in this league for a long time. I've come up short, but now it's my time, and I'm excited to be here. Now, before we get going, I want to do something to get us loose, get us in the mood for the draft. So, little song I put together. Hope you all enjoy it. Some of you may not know the words to this song. Here in a second, once the music starts playing, I'll tell you, what to sing and when to sing it. But some of you probably know this song, so get ready. Let's sing along. Let's get fired up. All right, here we go. When I say Thomas, immediately after you say you suck. Here we go. Thomas, 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 Thomas. All right. Cut my music. Cut my music. All right, guys. Great way to warm up. What a song. One of my favorites. I think some of you love that song as well. So as I mentioned, it's time for the 2020 ESPN Fantasy Football Sucks League Draft. Some of you all have been studying nonstop. Some of you are just showing up to draft. However you do it, good luck to you. It's the time of year as a league that we look forward to ever since the season ends way back in December. This year, unfortunately, due to panic and fear, the draft looks a little bit different, doesn't it? We're drafting online this year. Our Commissioner Newman, fell prey to the fear and is making us draft on the internet this year and closed EFFSL headquarters. Total shame. As champion, this is a total disgrace. I'm the most disrespected champion in the history of the EFFSL. I have no trophy. I have no championship ring. Total and complete disrespect. There's never been a champion treated more unfairly than me. Well, guys, what a last few months it's been. Since I claimed the EFFSL title back in late December, we were told by the fake news media that World War III with Iran was imminent. Didn't happen. We sat and watched the do-nothing Democrats in the United States Congress try to impeach the president, but they failed. Yes, he was impeached, but they didn't remove him from office. They totally failed, and it was wonderful to watch. Later on, weeks later, the China virus swept the globe, shutting down economies and businesses worldwide as politicians cowered in fear of the virus that has a 99% recovery rate. Totally unfair. 2 weeks to flatten the curve turned into months. The sports world also shut down. However, sports are slowly returning, whether the Corona bros and the sports media like it or not. Dan Wolken, Pat Forty, Darren Rovell, and others don't want it to happen, but it is. So let's take a trip back in time, shall we? It was 2018, August 2018. The Mascot Mafia was at a crossroads. 69 wins over 11 seasons just wasn't up to the standards that I set for myself or my great and beautiful fans, which there are many. Yes, we had successes along the way, like in 2006 making the championship game, only to be derailed in that championship game by the Eagles benching quarterback Jeff Garcia midway through the first half. Then let's move on to 2011. We were blown out in the semifinals, another heartbreaker. Probably the most heartbreaking was the 2014 season. The Mafia entered the playoffs with the number 1 overall seed and a 10-3 record on the backs of the trio of Andrew Luck, Matt Forte, and DeMarco Murray. Unfortunately, we got hammered in the semifinals and then lost the third place game. not what we want to be remembered for. So it was time for a change. Enter my good friend, Dr. Andros. For those that don't know Dr. Andros, he was once a well-respected biotechnology research scientist on the planet Corneria. And for those that don't know where the planet Corneria is, it's the fourth planet of the Lilac system. Now, I'd like to add that Corneria is one of the most beautiful planets I've ever been to. I've flown many times there. It's a beautiful place. Now, over time, the Cornerian leadership grew weary of Dr. Andros's research. They wanted him gone. Enter General Pepper. General Pepper was the leader of the Cornerian army, used a team of mercenaries by the name of Star Fox to destroy Dr. Andros's research on the planet Venom. Now, feeling unwanted in the Lilac system, Dr. Andros has since relocated to Earth and now resides right here, believe it or not, in Knoxville, Tennessee. So, back in August 2018, I got to know Dr. Andros and we met. And after talking with him, for a little bit, I offered him a stake in the ownership, a minority stake in the ownership of the Mascot Mafia. Thankfully, he accepted. And after many meetings, we decided on a name change. Andros Ligma Balls was born. Since the name change and since my alliance with Dr. Andros, the Ligma Balls have destroyed all competition. A 19-7 overall record, back-to-back playoff appearances, and yes, as mentioned earlier, the 2019 ESPN Fantasy Football Sucks League Championship. Wow, feels good to say. Dr. Andros's take no prisoners approach was just what we needed at just the right time. And it worked beautifully. His approach to our opponents worked beautifully all year long. Now, I will say the 2019 season wasn't without its hiccups along the way. Early on in the season, we had a terrible loss to the pitiful St. Louis Special, owned by the aforementioned Thomas Raines. It was just a terrible loss. But our team rallied, we came together, and we made the most of it going on to the championship game. Now, the championship game this year pitted, I think most would say, is the two greatest teams in ESPN Fantasy Football Sucks League history. I think if you looked back, you wouldn't find two better teams in this league ever. Now, obviously, my team is number one, the Ligma Balls, but the Virginia Beaches had one of the greatest seasons in league history, but not great enough. They lost to us in the championship game and handed us our first world title, and it was great. But congrats to them, they had a great season. Now, I'd like to add that you all should be thanking me right now, showering me with praises for defeating the Virginia Beaches. If you guys only knew what their owner had planned for his championship speech. You thought that video that he did a couple years ago was bad? You don't want to know what he had in store for us if he had won. Finally, I'd like to thank one of our fellow owners, Craig Newman. During Thomas Raines' wedding rehearsal on championship weekend, as Craig and I stood on stage side by side together, Craig whispered softly into my ear, quote, "Anybody but Josh." Apparently, this was a sentiment echoed by many in the EFFSL. Craig, I will say, you have the heart of a champion, even though you have no championship. Maybe one day, Craig, you will stand side by side with us other champions, with your fellow champions, one day on this stage. That is, if we ever draft in person again. Until then, Craig, stay strong and keep up the good fight. And now, the 2020 draft is upon us. This is the time when championship teams are formed. Who will be this year's champion? Can Craig, as I mentioned earlier, can Craig finally claim his first championship? How will Thomas Raines' team do now that Thomas is both married and pregnant? Will Thomas draft Reggie Wayne with his first pick in the first round? Hard to tell. How many trade offers will Jeff make before the draft, during the draft, and after the draft? All of these questions and more are about to be answered. God bless the EFFSL. God bless America. And as I said to Josh, the owner of the Virginia Beaches, as I walked across the stage at Thomas Rain's wedding, and trust me, Josh found out the hard way, go Ligma balls.